Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of David Burke. First I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. David Anthony Burke was born on March 28, 2005 in the New York City borough of Queens. Eventually his family moved to Houston, Texas, where he was homeschooled after completing the 7th grade. In 2021, after being inspired by a few different rappers, David started creating what he referred to as music. He used the name D4vd, which he pronounces as David. I pronounce it as D4vd because the number 4 is pronounced 4 and the I is missing. Confusing the number 4 and the letter A can become problematic in life. For example, how would David pronounce the 4th hole while playing golf? At first, David's music was designed to score videos of him playing the game Fortnite, which he released on his YouTube channel. In July 2022, one of his singles, which was titled Romantic Homicide, went viral on a social media platform called TikTok. In September 2022, David signed a deal with a record label. This same month, he released another single titled Here With Me. This song reached number 60 on the Billboard Hot 100. In 2023, David released an extended play album titled Petal to Thorns, followed by a second EP titled Lost Petals. In April 2025, he released his first studio album titled Withered. It reached number 13 on the Billboard 200 chart. In August of that year, he started the Withered World Tour, which was supposed to run through December 2025, but his plans were derailed. This brings me to the timeline of the incident. On September 8, 2025, the police were called to an impound lot called Hollywood Tow, which is located on Mansfield Avenue in the Hollywood Hills neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. The staff at the business reported that a 2023 Tesla Model Y was emanating a foul odor and attracting flies. The vehicle had been towed from the Hollywood Hills neighborhood 3 days earlier, on September 5. In the front trunk of the vehicle, sometimes referred to as a frunk, the police found a severely decomposed body wrapped in a plastic bag. The body was identified as belonging to a 15-year-old named Celeste Rivas Hernandez from Lake Elsinore. On April 5, 2024, when Celeste was 13 years old, she had been reported missing. The Tesla was registered to David Burke and had a Texas license plate. It was registered in the city of Hempstead, Texas. The vehicle was towed from Bluebird Avenue in the Hollywood Hills because it had been parked there for over 72 hours. Bluebird Avenue is just 400 feet away from a house where David lived, which was rented by his manager. This 4,300 square foot house, located at 1368 Doe Honey Place, is valued at $4.7 million. It rents for $14,000 a month. Neighbors reported that the Tesla had been moved several times, starting as far back as May 2025, before ending up on Bluebird Avenue where it was towed. Sometimes it was parked directly in front of the house where David lived. On September 17, 2025, the police searched David's house and seized a computer as well as other items. David Burke canceled the remaining shows for his Withered World Tour. He was supposed to release the deluxe version of his album Withered, but that release was suspended. In other bad news for David, the clothing brand Hollister and the footwear company Crocs removed him from a new ad campaign. At the time I'm making this video, no charges have been filed in this case. The police have stated that David Burke is cooperating with the investigation. The death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez has not yet been ruled a homicide. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Some reports indicate that the body of Celeste was dismembered, but other reports use the term not intact. This is an important detail because if her body was dismembered, that strongly points toward homicide. The not intact description could be used when a body disintegrates due to decomposition, which means she may not have been dismembered. The delay in calling this a homicide may be related to how the authorities have had difficulty determining the cause of death. Even if they can never figure this out, it is reasonable to believe that Celeste was murdered. Her body was found in a plastic bag in a vehicle that had been moved frequently. Those circumstances are pretty suspicious. Item number 2. As I mentioned, no one has been charged in connection with the death of Celeste. Not surprisingly, some people have wondered if it's possible that David Burke could have somehow been involved. The police are trying to determine if David and Celeste had any type of connection to each other. As it turns out, there is some evidence establishing a connection between David and Celeste. Here are a few examples. Her mother told the media that Celeste once had a boyfriend named David. This, of course, is a pretty common name and doesn't necessarily refer to David Burke. Celeste had a tattoo on her right index finger that read SHHH. David had a similar tattoo on his right index finger. David appeared in photographs with a person who looks a lot like Celeste. A former teacher at the high school Celeste attended said that Celeste met David Burke on social media. In one of David's demo songs, there are lyrics that refer to the name Celeste. The lyrics read, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." The severely decomposed body of Celeste was found in the front trunk of a 2023 Tesla Model Y registered to David Burke. Since at least May 2025, this vehicle has been mysteriously moved around the neighborhood where David lived, and at times was parked directly in front of his house. Based on this evidence, it is reasonable to believe that David and Celeste had some type of relationship. Maybe she was a fan, perhaps they were friends, maybe something else was going on. Either way, it seems clear they knew each other. Item number 3, the Tesla Model Y that contained the body of Celeste is mysterious. It was conspicuous to people who lived in the neighborhood where it had been parked. They noticed it had a large dent in it, and of course, it had a Texas license plate. The vehicle had not been reported stolen. Not long before it was towed, the vehicle was moved on the street near David's residence. Considering the body in the front trunk was severely decomposed and the smell was powerful when detected by the towing company employees, it stands to reason that when the vehicle was last moved, the driver should have detected the odor of decomposition. The smell may not have been as strong as it was after the vehicle was towed, but it must have been fairly powerful even back then. Whoever moved that car must have known something was going on. Maybe they didn't know there was a body in the front trunk, but a typical reaction would have been to investigate or report it. The vehicle was moved multiple times over the last few months before it was picked up by the towing company. This supports the idea that the driver was trying to avoid the vehicle being towed. They didn't want it to be sitting on a public street for over 72 hours. They must have slipped up because the car was eventually towed. Item number 4, I imagine the police will try to figure out exactly where David Burke was during the time the Tesla was being moved around near the rented house where he lived. It sounds like he was on tour, therefore he wasn't in the rented house in the Hollywood Hills. However, his Withered World tour did not start until August 2025. Again, the neighbors said the vehicle had been parked in various places in the neighborhood since at least May 2025. Item number 5, there are many unanswered questions in this case. Here are just a few examples. Was David around when the Tesla Model Y started mysteriously rotating through the parking spots in the neighborhood of the rented house? Was the body of Celeste in the vehicle before David went on tour in August? Did David stop at the rented house between his shows, or was he away the entire time after August? Did anyone else live in the rented house? Did David have employees who would have been responsible for his vehicle? When was the last time David was in that Tesla? Where are the keys? Were they found in the rented house? Were they in David's pocket? Are they missing? Did video surveillance from houses in the neighborhood capture who moved the vehicle? Did the Sentry mode system in the Tesla capture anything useful on the external cameras? Was DNA recovered from the body, the plastic bag, anywhere in the vehicle or inside the rented house? Has David offered any explanation as to what happened in this case? Did he have some type of relationship with Celeste? When did he last see her? When was the last time he contacted her? Where did he think she was this whole time? Did it seem strange to him that she was missing? If the police can answer even some of these questions, there's a good chance this case will be solved. Item number 6, was David Burke involved in the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez? In my opinion, there is no way to know the answer to that question based on the available evidence, but several factors do appear to work against David. For example, canceling the tour looks really suspicious. It leads me to believe that there is no innocent explanation for what happened here. The evidence connecting David to Celeste is difficult to explain without some type of wrongdoing being involved. And some of the imagery David uses in his act may lead people to believe he has a dark side. For instance, David sometimes plays a character who has a uniform that includes a shirt covered in bloody handprints. Whether David was involved or not, I think he is in a lot of trouble as far as his career. This is one convoluted fall from grace story. David seemed to be doing very well before this incident, although his success was always a bit of a mystery for a few reasons. He is boring, overrated, unoriginal, and does not have a good voice. His songs are lazy and underproduced, and the lyrics are basic, stale, and lifeless. Like so many young people who stumble upon undeserved success, David may not have been able to handle it. It's not necessarily all bad news for David. Even if he loses his fortune, that would not be as bad as going to jail, or as David calls it, J4L. Those are my thoughts in the case of David Burke. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.